Here we go. Last round of Swiss. I'm Rashad Miller with Zach Hill, and we're going to be watching Gianluca Spanu playing Jun. He's going up against Eric Froehlich, and he's playing the Naya deck.
That is exactly right. Very interesting Naya mid-range deck. 0 1-drop creatures in this fast format. Nothing for 1 mana at all.
Wait a minute. Are you sure this is a Brian Kibler deck?
Yeah.
with no 1-drops? As we see turn to Flint Hoof board from Eric Froehlich.
Yeah, very, very intriguing deck list, but it's been, like I said, it's been serving Ifro well, and Burning Tree Emissary does a good 1-drop impression, coming down for free in the second turn while fixing your mana in the process.
Yep, Spanu plays a tapped Overgrown Tomb, and still no play from him. Back to Eric Froehlich. He draws, and he looks at a hand that includes some spells, but first we're going to attack with our Flint Hoof board.
Now, this is sort of evocative of Mark Herberholtz's Pro Tour Honolulu deck, which everyone thought that all the red-green aggro decks in that format would be playing Llanowar Elves, and Herberholtz said, no, I don't need it.
He definitely did not need it as a Loxodon Smiter hits the battlefield for Eric Froehlich. Third land for Gianluca Spanu.
I mean, Spanu mulligan this game, but every draw we see of his is like awkward beyond belief. You've got like double Hellrider and removal spells. I mean, you know, you've got to be frustrated if you're Spanu. Hellriders in your deck because you want to have a lot of creatures on the board, and instead you kind of are forced to 1-for-1 them while you try and get something together.
Well, we got a couple of 1-for-1s. We have a Sarah Spear on the Flint Hoof board, and that triggers Morbid for the Tragic Slip, which then takes out the Loxodon Smiter. So not that bad, right?
No, not bad at all. And I mean, at the end of the day, if Hellrider's your last threat and it gets through, it's good enough to get the job done.
The twin brothers here. Another Loxodon Smiter hits the battlefield. Let's see you do that again, Eric Froehlich says.
The Elephant Brothers. I think that was a Falkenrath Aristocrat for Spanu, and Ifro delivering the beatdown, getting Spanu all the way down to 11 with that Smiter.
Quite the beatdown the Smiter deals out. For the low cost of 3 mana, you have a 4/4. With abilities which don't play much role right now, but 3 mana, and there is the third Loxodon Smiter. One's in the graveyard, but we've got 2 left in play.
And you know you don't have to worry about a detention sphere, so those Smiters doing some work right now.
All right, so Gianluca is looking at a Rootbound Crag, which he plays. He still has a Searing Spear and the Hellrider in his hand. Not a lot of other action to go on.
Yeah, and again, those Hellriders just sort of staring at the Loxodon Smiters, feeling bad about themselves. I think we might even just see a defensive Falkenrath Aristocrat right here.
Yeah, actually I did see a little more action. That Falkenrath Aristocrat is action-packed. he is not a boring man or woman, depending on, what gender the vampire is at that time. Attack with the Aristocrat and no block, so Eric Froehlich goes down to 16.
So I was expecting the Aristocrat to stay back on defense. It turns out Spanu's like, okay, it's probably not going to stay alive. So Aristocrat getting in there. And
whoa, and there is a Hellrider, and Spanu says that is enough. Eric Froehlich takes a quick game 1, leads 1-0 over Gianluca Spanu.
Yeah, just a really awkward draw from Spanu. Mulligan to 5, didn't really produce anything. Had some removal spells to stay alive, but Ifro's deck just dropping threat after threat after threat. After threat.
Did you actually say a defensive Falkenrath
That's what I was expecting to see, man.
They don't know how to do that.
I guess not.
They don't know what that is. Defense. Ultra Pro is the leading manufacturer of trading card game sleeves and deck boxes. If you're looking for official Gatecrash portfolios, card storage boxes, deck boxes, sleeves, and playmats, Ultra Pro has you covered. For more information, visit wizards.com/magic merchandise.
So, I mean, I'm looking at the sideboards from these two players. I'm trying to figure out what Spanu wants. I mean, you've got to expect him to want a Tribute to Hunger to deal with some of Froehlich's fatter creatures and gain himself some life back.
4/4s are pretty tough for a red removal spell to deal with.
Exactly.
Except for Mizzium Mortars, which has been doing a lot of great work.
I would say that's got to be one of the breakout cards of this tournament. We've seen it from a variety of different decks, and it has just been insane every time. I think also if you're Spanu, you're going to want those Abrupt Decays again for Loxodon Smiter.
Yeah, I was actually wondering about that card. Not that I don't know exactly how many creatures are in Eric Froehlich's deck that will die to Abrupt Decay because there's some top end in there.
There is some top end. I mean, we've got 4 copies of Hell Rider. We've got 3 Thundermaw Hellkites and a Thragtusk out of Ifro that do not get hit by Decay. But Burning Tree Emissary, Gyre Sage, Smiter, and Boros Reckoner, as well as Flinthoof Boar, all get hit by Abrupt Decay. And I mean, I guess if you have to, you can hit Domi Raid.
Yeah. So now, if you're Eric Froehlich, what are you sideboarding?
That is a great question. I think you want these Near Heath Pilgrims. That is a sort of atypical card, but you have to assume it's in the deck for matchups like this, just aggressive base red decks, although it might be more for just the even faster Ash Zealot strategies. Pacifism is a very interesting choice, very good against cards like Strangleroot Geist. I think that's the kind of thing you want.
Yeah, and we did, excuse me, and we mentioned Abrupt Decay when we were talking about Spanu's sideboard, and there you have it. Abrupt Decay can't be countered by spells or abilities. Just get that out there right in the beginning, just so everyone knows. Destroy target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. And in this environment, which seemed, or at least I know a lot of people were like, this is going to be a really fast environment, that's the type of card you really want if you're planning on removing things.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, the fact that it hits permanent's very relevant. We've seen a lot of Oblivion Rings getting thrown around. You can sort of get one of those by surprise at the end of the turn and produce a threat that your opponent wasn't expecting.
And if you all, for all you Legacy players out there, you know what Abrupt Decay does, because that's the card that you either use to kill a counterbalance or you're afraid of getting your counterbalance destroyed by, because it doesn't matter what the countering ability is, a trigger or a spell, it just can't be countered.
Exactly.
All right, so players are looking at their opening 7. I see a keep and another keep, and here we have some more magic.
The Spanu leads off with a stomping ground.
Yes, he does, and it is met by a Temple Garden, the Duel of the Duels.
That's the sequel to Duel of the Planeswalkers.
All right, so Rootbound Crag. I love the interaction between the duel, the Ravnica dual lands, and the M13. I don't know what were those cycles called?
We just call them the M10 lands.
The M10 lands?
But yeah, it's an interaction we were very, very excited to watch happen. We sort of planned for it a year in advance. M13 didn't really want the Rootbound Crag cycle because we reprinted them so many times. But it was just so awesome with Sacred Foundry and its ilk that we decided to keep them around.
It just feels so
year.
good. It just feels so good. And Eric Froehlich just led off turn 2 with a Gyre Sage, which is that spell that I really like. I really think is a great druid. And the fact that you can get multiple mana out of one card is great. And then it becomes an attacker.
You see an awkward turn 3 Strangleroot Geist from Spanu. I'm really eager to see this Gyre Sage do some work today. I've not once seen this card activated in real life, and I'm hoping Froehlich can put something really cool together with it. I mean, we'll have to see. You know, playing a Loxodon Smiter and attacking for 2 doesn't actually sound bad either.
No, not at all.
Gyre
Sage, I'm being told by the mystical voice in my ear.
I should have known that from, what is it, turning and turning into widening Gyre?
Yes, you should have. And there's a Burning Tree Emissary that's going to put an evolve counter on the Gyre Sage. So now he can either attack for 2 or tap for him green mana.
And I believe we're going to have to see, I think we're going to see Smiter come down right now off the mana from the Burning Tree Emissary.
Yep, and there's the Smiter, so that's going to make the Gyre Sage a 3/4. So Eric Froehlich's going to also get an attack for 3 with this guy. So now, is it primarily just a beat stick, or are we tapping it for 2 mana?
A lot of people told me you just play it like Tarmogoyf. Like, oh, it's got a mana ability, that's adorable. You can cast some Thragtusk every once in a while, but mainly you just want to put it in the red zone.
Oh, wow. I didn't think of it as a Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to make that guy into a 4/5.
And that's what Tarmogoyfs usually are. So Strangleroot Geist comes back for Spanu, gets in the red zone, threatening a trade or... Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think like you really don't want to block here after seeing Tragic Slip game 1. You're kind of just asking for it to, you're kind of asking to get one for one in a way that's really, really bad for you. I mean, I guess you block because you want to preserve your life total, but I would not want my Gyre Sage to get hit with a Tragic Slip right here.
Right, so there is the block, and it looks like we are Gore Clan Rampager. Gore Clan Rampager.
I was playing a lot of that guy in preparation for this tournament.
So, and the Blood Rush ability is +4/+4 and trample.
So that was a solid, he dealt 2 damage and killed the Smiter for the low price of 2 mana.
That's a very low price.
It is.
Eric Froehlich down to 16, and then a Searing Spear takes out the Burning Tree Emissary. So
Fortunately for Froehlich, though, the Gyre Sage still alive and might be getting even bigger this turn.
Right, and this Gyre Sage actually being able to tap for 2 mana later on.
I'm going to keep messing.
Yeah, and you're just going to make me mess up. but ramp it up to 5 mana is very relevant, especially in a deck with top end like Eric Froehlich's, right?
That's exactly right. And he's still got a pacifism, too, if there's any other undying tricksiness or any fatty boom booms coming down from Spanu's side.
All right, so the attack from Froehlich put Spanu down to 11, and Spanu responds with a land, and he's looking at a Tribute to Hunger and a Mizium Mortars, or is that a Hell Rider?
That's a Hell Rider, I believe. I really like Spanu seeming to get into a lot more controlling deck after sideboard. I mean, he may only be making a few changes, but I mean, your early drops just aren't really going to do a whole lot of work for you here.
Right, still being very thoughtful with his turn.
Tribute to Hunger, to me, was one of the cards I really wanted to play when I was testing her. I wanted our team to be playing. It's really good against the red decks, sort of works like a lightning helix. Good against things like Boros Reckoner and Geist of Saint Draft. And when your opponent's trying to go big with cards like Thundermaw Hellkite, it can eat those too and gain you a lot of life in the process.
Exactly, and there's an attack with the Strangleroot Geist that's going to bring Eric Froehlich down to 14. And there is a hard class Gore Clan Rampager. Because sometimes it's just a creature.
That's exactly right. And a 4/4 creature bigger than Ephro's board right now. I think that's going to be a very non-violent Gore Clan Rampager in short order.
It's going to get warm and fuzzy really quick as pacifism gets tossed onto it.
Matt Tabak at Wizards always used to joke that every time we reprinted pacifism, we should change the flavor text from the first time in his life to for the 8th time in his life. Grok felt a little warm and fuzzy.
I love that idea. So it looks like Spanu picked up another Gore Clan Rampager.
Yeah, one of these 4/4s is going to stick someday.
One of them is actually going to be a 4/4 Trampler that deals damage to you.
And Froehlich's life total quietly getting eaten away by the Strangleroot Geist.
But Spanu passes the turn without casting anything.
Yeah, I think he's trying to set up the Tribute to Hunger, maybe attempt to... I guess he can't trade with the Strangleroot Geist, but block and get tributed.
Little score update. We had a couple of games finish in the back table. Not in 2 different games, but in 1 match. Stephen Mann and Shahar Shinhar, they're tied at 1 apiece. They're really slugging it out in the back table.
So I'm trying to understand why Spanu didn't want to cast Gore Clan Rampager there. I guess if Ephro has a lot of cards in his hand, if he has 1 more removal spell, that's the game. Spanu looking to pad his life total a little bit before dropping his last fatty.
Yeah, it looks like Spanu is not going to take any damage from this attack. And he's going to gain 2 life, so he's up to 8. So it's going to be 14 to 8 in favor of Eric Froehlich.
Yeah, I really like that block there.
It's a great block.
Yeah, and now he just has some room to cast. I mean, it's a Deathrite Shaman. We see a Rampager if he wants to play some defense. I think you drop the Deathrite Shaman, play a Rampager to block, look to stabilize, and then you can kill Froehlich in a couple of activations plus a couple of attacks, especially with Hell Rider in your hand.
But first we're going to attack with a Strangleroot Geist. That's going to bring Froehlich down to 11. 4 mana. Could this be and there is a Gore Clan Rampager again.
It is kind of nice for Froehlich if this game goes into Game 3 to just know about the Rampager tricks, because that's a card that really blows you out the first time, but a lot easier for you to adapt around later. And of course, Ephro just drawing land after land after land. Really bad draw after what we thought was going to be an extremely solid opening hand.
Yeah, only the 3/4 Tarmo Druid stands alone, the Gyre Sage.
Go.
You know, Ephro really just needed like 1 Thundermaw Hellkite or just anything to put this game away, but his deck has not been delivering.
Yeah, and I didn't mention the Deathrite Shaman that was played last turn, which actually might have some targets. It has a Searing Spear and a Tribute to Hunger to actually deal 2 damage instead of 1 from attacking.
Right, exactly, and could theoretically gain Spanu some life if he felt like he needed a little bit more room.
So Spanu has a Searing Spear and an Abrupt Decay. Abrupt Decay has a target. Searing Spear would, I guess, have a target as well.
So is he just dead? You just cast Abrupt Decay, kill the Gyre Sage, and then attack? Gyre Sage?
It's probably the case. I did not do the math. You're the math genius here, right? Well,
That's Eric Lauer.
Yeah, we're attacking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's going to bring Eric Froehlich down to 4. A Searing Spear and an activation would do it. So, and that ties the matchup at 1 apiece.
All right, yeah, Ifro, I mean, you can see it on his face, but I would be very, very, very disappointed with a draw like that. I mean, the deck just did not produce anything. Yeah, you see him just kind of shaking his head there.
We'd like to thank Card House Games for being an official card retailer here at Pro Tour Gatecrash. For all things Magic, Card House Games is one of the premier destinations on the internet. For more information, visit cardhouse.com.
So one of the defining cards in that last game was Gorklan Rampager. It really hit on a brutal turn, taking out a Loxodon Smiter and dealing a lot of damage. And then, of course, we saw the split card nature of the card coming down to serve as a big blocker, drawing a pacifism, and then the third one really brick walling the ground. This was one of the cards that we intended to be a powerhouse out of Gatecrash, and, it hasn't really disappointed.
Oh yeah, powerhouse it is. It's Trample, has Blood Rush of green and a red, discard Gorehouse Rampager. Target attacking creature gets +4/+4 and gains Trample until the end of turn, and it's a 4/4 Trampler. Now, 2 mana, even being 2 colored mana for +4/+4 and Trample, that seems like you're pushing it.
It's really good.
It's close to really, really, really good.
It's really good. It's actually even better than it would ordinarily be in the context of the format. We wanted a card with Domri Raid to give the creature decks some game at instant speed to just do sort of a diverse array of things. And this card is the exact way to do that. You know, even if you have like 30, 25 creatures in your deck, this card counts as a creature for Domri Raid, but doesn't really play like a creature when you're attacking.
Exactly. Now, the Blood Rush ability reminds me of a card from, I believe it was the original Ravnica, where it was +4/+2 and Trample.
I believe that was out of Shards of Alara.
That was out of Shards of Alara.
Yeah.
It's same
Shards block
somewhere. Yes, somewhere in the Shards block. And it's the same mana cost, yet it's 2 less toughness. So how do you compare it to that card? I'm sure that this has come up when you all were designing
of course. I mean,
this
it
ability.
was sort of inspired by, I mean, Colossal Might you can use whenever, so nominally you can use it to save your creature from a removal spell, which you can't really do with Gorklan Rampager. But we really liked the play Colossal Might had, actually. I'd played it a lot in preparation for Pro Tour Honolulu, and I wanted to we kind of all wanted to put together a little bit better version that was actually good enough to see constructed, and Gorklan Rampager, sort of what we came up with. Originally it was even better. It started out as a 3-mana 4/3.
Wow.
Yeah, it was not a bad Magic card.
That's definitely a good Magic card.
We settled it down just a little bit.
I kind of want to see the 3-mana 4/3.
There'd be a lot more Gruul being played.
All right, so the players are looking at their opening 7, and it seems like they might be keeping.
Yeah, we see Pacifism from Ifro, Thragtusk, Reckoner, all the cards that you really want in this matchup.
And there we go. We start off with a stomping ground for Eric Froehlich. And Gianluca answers with a Forest and an Experiment
Number 1, man.
The first experiment.
This matchup really is sort of a triumph of the evolved mechanic. We see Gyre Sage from Ifro and Experiment 1 from Spanu. You know, not really in that many other decks. You kind of have to think, did Froehlich and Spanu just see something that not everybody else did?
It's possible that that's the case.
Wouldn't be the first time.
It definitely will not be the first time. Experiment 1 attacks for 1, brings Eric Froehlich down to 19, and Gianluca Spanu's follow-up is going to be a Rootbound Crack and leave the mana open.
So you got a lot of options. Oh, that Smiter is a really solid draw there for Ifro. I don't know if you play a Reckoner and expose it to Abrupt Decay or Tribute to Hunger, but it looks like you've got to expose something. So Ifro's like, all right, show me an answer. Exactly, and a Reckoner does come down. And Spanu had the opportunity to Searing Spear that Boar's Reckoner, but that's just, I mean, we've seen that happen before. Yeah, I mean, he had the Tribute to Hunger in his hand, so you kind of have to just say, all right. The downside for Spanu is casting all these removal spells. His Experiment 1 is still a measly little 1-1, and Ifro can't be too upset about that.
Hey, I mean, you got to start somewhere. Science doesn't just grow on trees. Come on.
Yeah, that's why it's just an experiment.
And there's a Loxodon Smiter for Eric Froehlich. Fourth land for Gianluca Spanu.
So you got those Searing Spears, very awkward against the Smiter. Smiter kind of brick walling Spanu right now. I don't think he wants to spend 2 Searing Spears on it, but it's possible he doesn't mind trading Experiment 1 plus a Spear. If you're Ifro, I don't think you block Strangleroot Geist right here.
So the Strangleroot Geist comes in to the red zone, and I think Eric Froehlich was in this position before, and he blocked.
And blocking is just the greediest here, I think. I mean, your opponent's got 2 mana. He's representing a burn spell. You're at a high enough life total, you don't really care very much.
Yep, and Froehlich does not block. He goes down to 16. Gianluca Spanu is at 21. Eric Froehlich draws a card, and it looks like it's Domri Raid.
Yeah, I think he had the Domri Raid for a little bit. I'm not positive of that. Maybe not. I thought it was actually a Flint Hoof Boar.
It actually was a Flint Hoof Boar.
But now this is where I think, I don't know, does he have he does not have the 5th land, so he cannot jam the Thragtusk down there.
No, he cannot, but he does have a Near
Heath Pilgrim.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that play a lot.
A 4/4 life-linking attacker, that's going to be a good play.
Exactly. I mean, and you're going to get a Searing Spear, but that you're basically fine with. You've got a Flint Hoof Boar to follow up, and, you know, the boar might draw another Searing Spear, but then you've really sort of ran Spanu out of a lot of gas, and you're going to allow your Domri to
Exactly,
work.
and there's that Flint Hoof Boar that he just drew. It's going to come down. It's going to be a 3/3. Spanu pays 2 mana, and there is a second Strangleroot Geist. 2 more mana. Searing Spear is going to take out the Flint Hoof Boar, and we're going to attack with everybody.
So this is a pretty big attack. This Experiment 1 not evolving, but still 6 damage is a lot of damage. And Ifro under some serious pressure right now.
Ifro draws a card. Didn't quite see what it was, but we'll see if it has any effect on this game.
I mean, the downside of the Pilgrim attack, I like being aggressive, but like you do have to assume that like your opponent has some sort of removal spell. Like a Near Heath Pilgrim's a 2/1. You're up against a deck with both black and red in it. He's got a lot of cards in hand, and he was just sitting there with an Experiment 1 not evolving it. So you kind of have to assume that your opponent has some way to deal with your Near Heath Pilgrim.
Exactly. Either spells or lands are in his hand, and he wasn't playing that many land.
Nah, exactly.
So Eric Froehlich's trying to figure out what's the best route to victory. He's at 10. Gianluca Spanu's at a healthy 17. He has 3 creatures on the board. All Eric Froehlich has is a Loxodon Smiter. He's going to tap 2 mana, maybe?
I think we're going to see a Pacifism and a Flint Hoof Boar come down for Eric.
There's 2. There's a Pacifism on the Strangleroot Geist. Looks like both of the Strangleroot Geists are fresh 2/1s, so it doesn't really matter which one. And there is the Flint Hoof Boar.
So we're seeing a very aggressive line of attack from Ifro. I think he's betting on getting his 5th land for Loxodon Smiter, and that's not a bad, or not for Loxodon Smiter, for Thragtusk.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a bad bet. And I mean, you don't want to just sit here and give your opponent draw step after draw step. So
right.
I mean, you got to play for a win. And
now Gianluca just drew a Dreadmangler. Looks like.
Yeah, he did, and I think he actually had one also in his hand before that. So. He's going to be getting in the red zone a lot. Ifro's life looking precarious. The only thing I think that gives Ifro some reassurance, he's already seen 2 Searing Spears, so I don't think he feels very much in danger of getting burned out right now.
Right, but there's a lot of hasty creatures in Gianluca's hand.
Oh, that is for sure.
And there goes one. Dreadmangler enters the red zone with Geist, Strangleroot Geist and Experiment 1. It's still a 2/2, which I believe it could have been a 3/3.
Yes, it could have. Are we sure there's not 2 dice on Experiment 1?
I think those are just beads. That's the Spanu's been using beads.
All right. Well, can't argue with that. And the crowd is going wild over that block. That was a huge moment for Ifro.
Wow.
Yeah, being able to keep that Flint Hoof Boar is absolutely huge.
Eric Froehlich's down to 5 life, but he just drew a mountain. That's going to let him play a Thragtusk.
It is going to let him play a Thragtusk. You have to think at least for 1 second, though, if you're Efro, because going down to 3, even if you're about to gain 5, does put you in range of the third Searing Spear. Your opponent probably doesn't have it, but, you know, it would be an awkward way to go.
Now, what would the other course of action be? Do you wait another turn?
I mean, you could theoretically maybe play a Domri and fight the Dreg Mangler, or yeah, you probably fight the Dreg Mangler. I mean, you don't want to let him just sort of scavenge, so you're right. I mean, there's not really that many good options. The thing is, if he does scavenge, his Strangleroot Geist loses Undying.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you could just double block if you wanted to play conservative, and you'd have a Planeswalker sitting on the battlefield winning you the game. So, I mean, I could see playing Domri and fighting being like a real line of play right now.
Right, and you can see Eric Froehlich is doing some math. He's doing a lot of consideration. I'm sure he's considering those things that you have just mentioned. Let's see what he comes up with. Looks like he's doing math.
That's what it looks like to me. I mean, and the thing is, like, you also, again, you have to kill your opponent. You don't want to let him draw anything crazy. So, I mean, I totally respect an attack and just play Thragtusk and say, all right, if you have 3 Searing Spears, you have 3 Searing Spears. But I think I kind of like the Domri play. I like having a Planeswalker and 5 mana and an untapped Thragtusk. Seems pretty hard to lose from that position.
Yeah.
That said, he says, whatever.
Right,
I'll cast a Thragtusk.
So step 1 is attack with both of my creatures. We got a 4/4 Smiter and a 3/3. I guess it's a pig, right? Or is it a boar?
I think it's a boar.
It's a boar.
Properly.
There we go. Sacred Foundry untapped.
6 to 5, yeah.
No.
It's going to go to 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's like not
Chill.
Not
sorry.
so fast. There's a Thragtusk. Just wait a
Going
minute.
all the way up to 8. So
that's 8 life.
even still, I mean, I guess a Zealous Conscripts from Spanu would end the game right here. But I mean, he doesn't have it in his deck, so.
But it would still win the game.
Yeah.
We were just being creative here.
It'd be a pretty play.
It'd be more than pretty. It'd be pretty good. And Blood Crypt is not a Zealous Conscript, but we knew he didn't have that in his deck. So Blood Crypt and Dreg Mangler are the 2 cards in Spanu's hand. Does Spanu have any good attacks here?
I don't really think so. I mean, the thing is, like, Efro doesn't have that many good attacks either if Spanu just plays a Dreg Mangler and passes. I mean, Thragtusk obviously makes another 3/3, but Dreg Mangler can make creatures huge, so I think you kind of just have to play your creature and say go right here.
Okay, so while these players are still thinking, I can let you know that Stephen Mann actually defeated Shahar Shinhar 2-1 in our back table, and Roberto Gonzalez is up 1-0 against Isaac Egan.
All right, so Efro really shifting, or the game's tide is shifting right here. Efro gets to untap, potentially play a Planeswalker, see what he draws, potentially kill something, try to force through some damage. Spanu at 6 life, it's not a very high life total, but Strangleroot guy's kind of good at playing defense, so I feel like if you're Efro, you just cast Domri and see what's on top of your deck.
That seems like a great idea. So Spanu did play the second Dreg Mangler from his hand last turn, which presents 3 attackers / blockers, which do something really good if they happen to go to the graveyard.
That is true.
1 card, right?
When they're on the battlefield, though, they're only 3/3s, and I think if you're Efro, you're going to want to keep them on the battlefield as long as possible. Unless you just say, all right, I'm going to attack with Thragtusk, and that's fine. You can scavenge. That's adorable. I'm going to get a 3/3. I'm going to put you under some pressure.
Efro is doing some math. The life total is 8-6 in Eric Froehlich's favor.
I feel like you kind of want to just know what's on top of your deck with Domri before you do anything.
Well, there's 3 mana. There's definitely posturing for Domri Raid, and there it is, Domri Raid.
Another play is just fighting with Loxodon and Smiter. You can kill the Dreg Mangler without really risking too much, and then just hold your Smiter back. If you kill Dreg Mangler and you attack with everybody, you don't have to worry about your Smiter getting blocked. Oh yeah, you still do, because he still has 2 blockers for the Thragtusk. So,
right.
Yeah, I think you kind of just want to draw a card here.
Yeah, it seems like Eric Froehlich doesn't know which ability he wants to do just yet. And there we go. We're going to fight.
We're certainly fighting.
There's a battle.
That's one of the Dreg Manglers.
Yep. Smiter versus Dreg Mangler, and Smiter wins that fight.
Yeah.
Smiter still has 3 damage on it, so if it does attack, it will trade if Spanu chooses to block with either of his creatures.
For sure. I mean, it's definitely not the end of the world. Just kill a Dreg Mangler, say go, and try and do something with your Planeswalker next turn after you get 2 looks at a creature.
But it looks like we're going to have an attack with the 2 creatures that didn't involve themselves in any shenanigans this turn.
Yeah. I mean, you're letting them... You're letting him get a block in with Strangleroot Geist and tapping your creature, but I suppose at 8, you're at a high enough life total that's relevant. The thing is, if his last card is a removal spell and he top decks... Oh, if he top decks Falkenrath Aristocrat, he's still 1 damage short of killing you. So
oh, wow.
Ifro may have just thought through the all of the possibilities and realized, hey, there's nothing he can do, even if he has the best possible draw to actually kill me.
Did he go through the entire suite of hasty creatures that Spanu could play on his turn?
I mean, I don't think so, because I think Dragon plus removal spell would end the game right here based on this attack pattern. But again, he knows that Spanu doesn't have Dragon, or at least he could know that Spanu doesn't have Dragon.
Right. There's no dragons in Spanu's deck, but he does have Hellrider.
Hellrider might could get there
damage.
Too, yeah. If he just blocks with the Strangleroot Geist but doesn't kill anything, top decks Hellrider, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is 8 damage.
Right, and there is also Gore Clan Rampager, which represents 4 additional damage.
That is also very true. I mean, all of this, again, is predicated on Spanu having a removal spell for the Smiter that he doesn't necessarily have.
Right.
But Ifro does not know what the last card in his hand is.
So it looks like we're going to have a block. Strangleroot Geist is going to jump in front of the Thragtusk, and that's it.
Okay.
That's the only block. Damage is...
So is Hellrider still game here?
Hellrider, I think Hellrider is still the same situation.
No, yeah, like if you have Hellrider, you deal him 3, you get Ifro down to 5, you can only block 1 of your creatures. Is it a Hellrider? He is slow revealing.
That is
a Gore Clan Rampager.
Wow.
That
is
very close. I think that...
I don't think it's
enough.
it. It's not enough.
No, it's not.
It's 1 short.
It's very close to enough.
It's very short. It's rare. It's very close. It's only 7 damage that Spanu can deal.
7 is not 8.
7 is not 8 because 8 is enough. So it looks like Gore Clan Rampager might come down as a 4/4 Trampler.
We've had some close, tense games of Magic.
And that's how I like my Magic to be. Except when I'm playing. Unless I'm playing where I want it, fast and loose.
Counting to 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right. So we've got a Rampager on defense. Not really where that guy likes to be, but really a pretty solid board presence for Spanu.
Wow! Mysium Mortar's Overload is
Goodbye, team.
Destroys all of Spanu's creatures, and there you have it. Eric Froehlich wins 2-1 over Gianluca Spanu.
Well, Spanu actually does get back a Strangleroot Geist there, but obviously it doesn't matter. He throws enough damage. But wow.
And it looks like we still have a game going on in our replacement feature match between Dave Spears and Makahito Mahihara.
Yeah, I'm good. It's not going to be anything too.
My colors, my guilds, my shirt. Proclaim your allegiance today by purchasing your guild apparel at mtgmerch.com. And if you weren't noticing before, those shirts that you're seeing right there on your screen, they're the shirts that we're wearing. You could be just like us.
Well, if you try really hard.
Yeah, if you try really hard. Actually, maybe you don't want to be just like me. Maybe you just want to be just like Zach Hill, because being me isn't as glamorous as it looks. It's not as glamorous as it looks. And here we are again, Rashad Miller, Zach Hill. That was a sweet, sweet game. But we still got some more games to go. We still got some more games, and we have an interview with Tim and Eric Froehlich. So let's go to that.
Hi, I'm Tim Willoughby here with Eric Froehlich. That a big win there. You now on 12-4. How's it feel?
Really, really happy. I don't even have a lot of words. I'm not really one who's very loud, generally very quiet, not very talkative, but this feeling is pretty incredible.
I mean, we could hear the roars from the crowd as you drew that Mizium Mortars. You've got a lot of support here, and clearly a lot of people really rooting for you to do well, and really, really happy to see this finish now in a great spot at the end of the Swiss in this tournament. Thank you very much, Eric Froehlich. It's been a great tournament, and we'll hope to see a little bit more potentially. A little bit of fingers crossed just with the last things in terms of tiebreakers, but a great performance. Thanks, Eric.
Let's do a little bit. Okay, yeah, sorry. Like what you just said, I need to address that because the friends that I have here, it's the reason I play Magic. It's the reason I think all of us play Magic. We come out here, we see the world, we spend time with our friends. You know, I work with the greatest group of guys. So many friends I've made from all sorts of countries, especially, you know, the Americans that I've been working with for 10 plus years, and all my friends on Facebook and Twitter and people following the event. Like, this is what makes it special. Hearing that roar, like you can see that there's almost tears in my eyes. Like, it's just so incredible.
A fantastic performance. Thank you very, very much, Eric Froehlich. Congratulations. Heading back to the booth now.
Oh, I was hoping they actually came back to the booth because I drew a little heart that expressed exactly how I felt about the touching things that Eric Froehlich said.
Yeah,
but we have Magic to watch.
Well, and not to be sarcastic about that either. That is why we all play this.
Sincerely, it's great to see Eric Froehlich do well. He was one of our special invites for extremely great performances in multiple tournaments, coming very, very close to actually getting an invite, to winning an invites, and he came here and he's doing so well. Okay, so we're gonna. You know what? I think everyone wants to see my artistic
everyone
ability.
Does. I do.
As you see, I made, not only did I make a heart, but I made it a little smiley face, and it says "ah" because that's what I feel.
In honor of Valentine's Day.
In honor of Valentine's Day, a few days later. Maybe I should put a little arrow.
Yeah, just be an artist.
I should be an artist. I am good at this. There you go. There you go. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. If you didn't tell someone you loved them, you should have did it 2 days ago. Now it's too late.
Ever the optimist, Rashad Miller.
So we're going to go back down to the floor. We're going to be watching Dave Spears versus Makahito Mahara. Oh, no. We're not going to. We're going to be watching Roberto Gonzalez versus Isaac Egan. Even sweeter.
Egan sweeter.
Egan sweeter.
I've been around you and Rich too long, man.
Have you? We rub off on we actually had, we'll talk about the bet that we had later, but you didn't know. No, you weren't involved in it. Well, you were, you just didn't know it. But here we go. Back to the game. We have Arga Bolas and a bunch of land over for Roberto Gonzalez. And Isaac Egan just played a Lockstar Smiter. And it looks like we had a battle of the Oblivion Rings a little bit earlier. Not sure what they were originally targeting, but now they're targeting each other.
We have seen a lot of Loxodon and Smiter in this
How do we kill this man?
How do we kill this man?
You know what?
Just attack, I'll block.
4 fours for 3. They are tough to deal with.
There are a few lands.
That doesn't sound good at all.
Yeah, you know, I think all of the lands are on the battlefield right now. Isaac Egan at 16, Roberto Gonzalez at 12. Gonzalez leads 1-0.
I just want to see more Mizium
Mortars,
to be perfectly honest with you. Every time that card is cast, it's the biggest blowout.
You know what? It's been a blowout ever since
you don't believe
it was printed and Return to Ravnica, and I drafted it.
Go ahead.
That's when his blowout potential was really reached. So we got a draw step, and did I just see a Sphinx's Revelation? Was that the card that was drawn?
It is very hard for me to see, but we are about to find out.
Dare.
But I don't see any blue sources, so it must have been something else.
All right. Well, 5. 5 is a large number.
Oh,
okay.
Hey!
That one I can live with.
That is a Sigarda, host of Herons.
Back to you. End of turn.
So no attack from Loxodon and Smiter, I guess, to dodge.
I just wanted to make sure.
Azorius Charm. Might as well wait. You have a 5/5 hexproofer in the waiting in the wings.
Yeah, I'll just play one way, you know.
All right, too bad there's a Snapcaster Mage, and it looks like we are going to flash back a Sphinx's Revelations for 8. That's going to bring Roberto Gonzalez up to 20. He's going to draw 8 cards, and obviously we're going to have all 8 of those cards updated in the hand tool right now. Okay, maybe not.
Right now.
Right now.
Literally
Okay.
right now.
Not right now, but pretty soon all those cards will be there, and that's a
spear in your
pretty
hand
good
and a billion
swing
other
of
cards.
position for
Well, yeah,
Roberto
I mean, I thought
Gonzalez.
Sigarda was going to be, you know, as very, very good, but then Sphinx's Revelation happens, as it is wont to do.
I mean, the cigar is probably still going to be there for a while.
I mean, maybe.
Not
It
every day
depends
you
if
play with this
a
with the
verdict
line.
is
Have you
reached.
had that for like ever? Like, is that like?
No, that was a Snapcaster.
No, yeah. So have you had the Snapcaster forever? Or-
No. I just drew it.
Cool. It's better than this.
It is. I'm gonna draw for my turn.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sphinx's Revelation is better than this. Isaac sums it up quite accurately, I do believe.
I can tell.
All the value.
All the value that should have been the flavor text. Sphinx's
Of
Revelation.
Sphinx's Revelation.
All
Actual,
the value.
all the value.
He has.
So there's a lot of thought going on from Roberto Gonzalez. Mostly because he has a lot of cards in his hand.
Yeah,
And there's a supreme verdict, as you suspected could be an issue for Sigarda.
As it is against many mid-range creature decks.
Many mid-range creatures in general.
10 cards.
Still plenty of mana and plenty of cards for Roberto Gonzalez. What is he going to do? Looks like, is that triple Restoration Angel he has?
Yeah, that is many angels. I think we're going to see a couple of those hit the battlefield on the end of Isaac's turn.
Right. Or maybe
Or maybe now. Why?
Well, is this the
why
keep pile or the
discard?
discard pile?
I do not know.
I'm hoping it's the keep pile.
With that many mana, just main phase of Restoration Angel. Come on. What's going to happen? It's just going to get hit with Mizium Mortars. Who cares?
Maybe he has Instinitis.
All right. I mean, what? I doubt it. I think he's probably trying to play around either Mortars or Bonfire the Damned, or maybe even Devil's Play, all of which Egan has in his deck.
Oh, wow.
Don't
So
think these cards-
looks like the discard is going to be a Syncopate
Before I
and
do
a
something really
Searing
stupid.
Spear.
Not just going to cast
Wait,
Searing
instead,
Spear?
I'm just going to
Yeah,
Searing Spear
come
you.
I almost discarded
Burn.
that. What was I thinking?
I couldn't have said it better, Roberto.
So Isaac Egan goes down to 13 after that Searing Spear, and there's another one. He's just going to throw them both. So now he doesn't have to discard anymore. And Isaac Egan is at 10 life.
Now,
All right,
casting the second one a little bit awkward with those Syncopates in hand. Like, Syncopate for 6 is not necessarily live.
That's probably true, especially with the amount of mana that's over on Isaac Egan's side of the board.
That said, Egan all the way down to
It's not gonna
10.
be
These
good.
Restoration Angels can put the game away very fast.
Back to me.
So there you go, 7. He actually did have to discard one Syncopate,
Wolf
I
run,
believe.
Like a boss.
It's a Huntmaster.
Ooh, Huntmaster. Not a
lost
wolf run,
that.
but, you know, a wolf man.
I haven't touched
Yeah.
it, so-
Huntmaster
Yeah.
of the Fells is going to put a 2/2 wolf token
9
into
untapped.
play.
Well,
9.
See if we get a nice token for this guy.
guess. Then yeah, that guy's good.
And there we have a nice
yeah,
wolf.
back up to 12.
12.
I will pass the turn.
And we're going to see some Angels.
What? You got something. This is
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I can't believe
I can
it.
tell
So
by look in your
lucky.
face. I mean, it's just astronomical.
Yeah,
Oh, that's okay, I'm assuming.
Do you think they
But
ran the
you
numbers
lucky.
to see if
So
it was
lucky. So
actually
lucky.
astronomical?
Actually,
I mean, drew 8
astronomical.
cards, drew creatures, unbelievable.
I don't know. I can ask.
We'll ask later. Maybe Tim Willoughby will
Did they
do
go
an
to the
interview.
planetarium? And
Do they have a planetarium here? No numbers were run. Tim Willoughby says, cracked staff. Detention sphere.
Very promptly that Huntmaster getting out of the picture, and Angel
good
doing some
9.
work. Egan falling down to 9, and many Angels again capable of hitting the battlefield.
There's
on
an
the end of this next
there's
turn.
an Argo Bolas to see if we can hit a spell. It's being a little
I'm gonna draw a
secretive
blue
with
source
the
followed by my
cards that
mind
are being
grind.
revealed, and there's a Sphinx's
Okay,
revelation.
that's not a bad one.
It's an instant, so it
Yeah,
is
that's all right.
fair game for Argo
Hang on, I'll
Bolas.
write that down.
Write it down.
I'll write that down,
Sphinx's
Egan says.
Revelation.
I don't want to forget
Alright.
about that one.
Yeah,
Like I get
these
tricked
guys
by
are
that
having
one.
fun, and it's always nice to see two guys playing Magic having fun, even at this high level.
I was going to say, I would not be able to be
You, man.
You would not be able to have-
jocular.
Oh,
It's
that's a real good angel.
Okay.
Ooh,
I
Gisela.
can do nothing to that young lady.
I believe that is Aurelia, isn't it?
Is it Aurelia?
Trigger.
Aurelia, the war leader.
Oh, it is
Yes.
Aurelia.
And
We're
then
gonna block there the first time.
Okay.
Enough of that, says Azorius Charm.
Now, the wolf can theoretically battle again if the wolf is wont to do.
That's true.
Does he come back for more? I want more, you Agropolis. I want more, you.
Your turn.
These guys
All
are
right, I
real.
guess we'll end it up.
This is. You know what?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
These guys are just doing our job for us.
gonna
Let's
hit the
just
tank.
sit back.
Go ahead. I'm gonna stare at
How many
you.
cats in hand? 3?
3.
But one of them is Sphinx's Revelation.
One of them is
So
Sphinx's
only 2 real cards.
Only 2 real cards.
All right.
All right, so there we have it. Congratulations to Roberto Gonzalez. He wins this 2-0.
Pretty decisive Sphinx of Revelation. I was pretty excited to see Sigarda host a Heron's, one of my favorite cards. I think a little bit of an
2-0, yeah.
underplayed
2-0,
card,
yeah.
With
Yeah, I
Devour
really do
Flesh
not
kind
want
of
to
keeping it
play
in check,
against
but
your deck.
no match for Sphinx's Revelation.
No match. Not a lot of things are a match
That's
for
true.
Sphinx's Revelations. Rashad Miller, Zach Hill, that was the last round of Swiss. We know you want to know who were the actual winners during that round, so we're just going to shoot it right to the news. We're going to shoot it right to the news desk and let those guys let you know. Oh, I think we're actually going to have an interview with Roberto Gonzalez instead.
No, really?
Yeah, this is actually going to be pretty fun because everyone loves to see a good bow tie.
I just love to listen to Tim Willoughby's voice.
You know what? Both of those are great things. So let's go down to Tim Willoughby with the interview with Mr. Gonzalez.
I'm here with Roberto Gonzalez, the most dapper man in the feature match area, and he's got a big smile on his face.
This is as big as it gets. This is as big as it gets.
Now, a big smile there because a big win. Now at an excellent 4 finish, so in pretty good spot. Have to look at how things finally finish up. But I was watching. I mean, we all saw your match on camera, but I saw the first game. Tell us about how that one ended.
I mean, the thing is against this deck is that it's always you're going to have to take these chances. You know, that they don't rip a Garuk, that they don't rip an Aurelia, you've got to get a little lucky. You know, I got the Mizium Mortars, to kick that up. Ended up drawing a ton of cards off of Revelation. When the first Revelation hits and you get into that safe mode, you feel a little bit better. You can kind of exhale because they don't. He had Fireball, so because he had Devil's Play. So I mean, I didn't know that it existed in the list. So I was worried that he would just rip another one, and I'm just stone cold dead, So you have to get lucky. You can't go X4 through a PT without having some luck. My opponent got a little bit more unlucky this time, but he's a great guy, so I can't complain.
And that first game ending with just exactly how big was that Rune Chander's Pike?
How big was that?
14 or 15, I think.
Some ginormous number, And my problem is I have a lot of friends and family at home, and I've been playing Magic for like 19 years, and this is the time when you really want to show off, and show that you're not stupid, So I'm sitting here going, how do I not screw this up, make sure I get enough damage in, and then get that Pike in before he draws like a Devil's Play to kill me, And I looked at it, it was perfect, drew a pillar to make sure that I can't screw it up, so.
A great performance there from Roberto Gonzalez, finishing X and 4 on the weekend. A great performance. We're going to throw things straight back to the booth there now. Thank you very much, Roberto.
Thank you.
Man, that Roberto Gonzalez, that guy's a great guy. You know who else is a great guy?
Who's that?
Rich Hagan, or
That was a brilliant
Marshall
transition.
Sutcliffe, or
They're all great men.
or BDM. So let's just send it back to the news desk so we can see some great guys.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the news desk. Wow, we have so much action going on. We saw some great matches there, and we're working our way right up to the top 8 here. We're almost there. To help you and even me sort out all of this stuff, we have our very own Rich Hagan at the video wall.
All right, so we're almost there, but not quite. Let's take a look at the big board. Ben Stark, 12 wins, 2 losses, 2 defeats in. Owen Turtenwald, the United States, his first Pro Tour top 8. Congratulations to him, 12-2-2. Melissa DeTora, the first female player ever to make the top 8 of a Pro Tour. Congratulations to her, 12-3-1. From Sweden, Joel Larsson is in, longtime Swedish pro, 12-3-1. The same record, Jerry Thompson of the United States, his first Pro Tour top 8. Tom Martell is in. As you can see, this is a stacked top 8 coming your way tomorrow, 12-3-1. Now, Eric Froehlich, you've just seen win, 12-4. Let's see who else is around that mark. Gianluca Spanu, 11 and 5. That knocks him out for sure. So we've got 1 12 and 4 so far. Let's go the other side. Isaac Egan just lost 11 and 5. He misses out for sure. Gonzalez from the United States, you just saw interviewed there by Tim Willoughby, 12-4. Stephen Mann, 12-4. As we work our way down the rest of this second column, you're looking at plenty of money, plenty of points, but no Sunday chair, I'm afraid. So congratulations, but just not quite for Shahar Shenhar, Emmanuel Suter, Felipe Tapia Becerra of Chile, John Stern of Canada, and Conley Woods of the United States. These draws, by the way, they were agreed in the last round because points, cash, they knew they couldn't realistically get that 7th or 8th slot for the 12 and 4s. So you have Eric Froehlich at 12 and 4, you have Roberto Gonzalez at 12 and 4, Stephen Mann at 12 and 4. So here's the scenario. By the cheering, which is fantastically scientific, I think you'll agree, Eric Froehlich pretty much in. He had a huge tiebreak lead over the other two, Gonzalez and Mann. But Gonzalez and Mann were very, very tight. And right now, one of these two is going to be your 8th player in a stellar top 8 at Pro Tour Gatecrash. One of them is going to be going home in 9th. We don't know yet who, and you'll find out as soon as we know. Marshall, back to you.
Thanks, Rich. Yeah, this thing is really coming down to it. From what we already pretty much know for the top 8, it is absolutely amazing. We're going to get that last spot worked out for you. For now, we've got some technology. We have a deck tech the BDM did with Ben Stark. Why don't we send it over to that right now?
Hi everybody, welcome to the Tournament Center, this time for real. This is Brian David Marshall. I'm here with Ben Stark, and we're about to talk about killing people with land. It's the unfairness of the Pro Tour.
The best way to kill them.
It's a meritocracy. You know, Ben, really your job is to find the draft strategies for the team, right?
Primarily, yeah. I'm not the constructing guy.
You're not the constructing guy. Who does like the load of the work?
I leave the brilliant constructed work up to Raptor, Josh Utter-Layton, and LSV, and the other constructed minds on our team. I trust their judgment.
But you top 8 the Pro Tour, you get to talk about the deck, and it is unfair to say that you did not do hard work on this deck, because as we're about to see on this first slide,
well,
4 up there on the Nefalia Drown Yard.
Most of the rest of the other team played 3, and I think their logic for 3 in a ghost quarter instead of 4 is correct. I really love Drown Yard, so I just wanted to have 4. I just wanted to mill them as often as I could all throughout all the games, so I went with 4.
This is more or less the only way your deck can win.
Yeah, I mean, you could not close every game without Drown Yard. I mean, you've got some Angels, some Snapcasters, but I mean, people can kill those. But I mean, there's not that much good land destruction in Type 2 right now, and mill's really fast. People always say things like, oh, are you going to have enough time? And so, I mean, you're just like end of turn mill 6, mill 6, mill 9, mill 9, and they're out of cards. It really doesn't take that long.
And you see the games are going long anyway, right? Even the matchups that aren't mill-based, right? They're just, people have 18 lands in play sometimes.
Type 2 is excellent right now. I mean, there's so many answers and problems, and I mean, the games are just great. I mean, I can't believe how many different choices you have for every deck and how close so many of the cards are. It's amazing.
And it seems crazy to me that you can have a deck that's killing people in the Nefalia Drown Yard, and you have a teammate right now who's playing on the feature match with Flint Hoof Boar.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, you don't have to kill that deck with Drown Yard, since once you Revelation for a bunch of life, they can't beat you. So I mean, with them, I mean, yeah, you might kill them with Drown Yard, you might with Restoration Angel, but the real win condition is Revelation. You just stay alive, answer their threats, and then Revelation gain 5-6 life, and they're out of the game.
It's a dream, right? You're just saying that the answer is you just kill them with card advantage.
Yeah, as a control player, right? I get to mill them with my lands, and I get to kill them with literal card advantage, right? Just gain the life that puts mono red out of it and get a fistful of cards. It's amazing.
All right, let's take a look at some of the other cards that make this deck work. So control cards.
Sure, yeah, the Wraths. I mean,
Supreme Verdict, yeah. Wrath of God was the original card that did this kind of effect. So we tend to call it Wrath. People who have been playing the game as long as Ben and I,
only almost 20 years, since I started playing when I was 11. Supreme Verdict, yeah, it's amazing. It's great. I mean, it was great when it came out because some of those aggro controls were a little too tough to deal with, with the Delvers and the leaks and stuff. But now, if those blue decks want to put out all their stuff, they can't counter your Wrath. They can't just negate your Wrath. Perfect card.
We were talking about how, in fact, you don't see Delver at this event. Is to some extent the fact that those kind of blue tempo-based, aggro control strategies, is this line here, is that part of why they're not doing well?
It's part of why. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Part of why is because Ponder and Probe are no longer legal.
Sure.
But it is part of why. I mean, this is definitely a card that answered the Delver deck nicely, If they had a Delver and a Geist and got to untap, it would be over, but not with an uncounterable Wrath. You can just throw it right into their mana leak or negate, and they can't do anything about it.
Right.
Sweet.
So more Wraths. This is a card that we were pretty surprised when we were hearing about.
So this was an innovation. I didn't come up with it, definitely Raptor, LSV, whoever. It's to destroy all non-land permanents is key because Planeswalkers are a giant pain for control decks. A lot of control decks run O-Ring to deal, or Detention Spirit to run with Planeswalkers, but they're not really good answers because Planeswalkers do something when they come into play. If you play Garruk and make a beast, and then I O-Ring your Garruk, you still got that beast, right? Like, maybe I can beat your beast, but I'm at a disadvantage.
Right.
Planar Cleansing is going to take care of the Huntmaster that was already in play, and the Garruk, and the beast it makes, So obviously it costs 6 mana, so we're only running 2 copies of it, but it's a great sweeper to just get rid of the Planeswalker and whatever they've gotten from it.
And this has got to be one of your favorite cards ever printed?
Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan. I've been playing Blue-White. I played Blue-White Control, the top 16 at Charleston, basically all same thing, Augur and this card and counters. I mean, Sphinx of Revelation is just a great card. I mean, Type 2, like you said, is slow. The games go long. I mean, it's the best late-game win condition there is. I mean, even though it doesn't seem like it beats them, and when you draw 6 extra cards, probably going to win the game.
Well, it's like a time walk, too, right? I mean, it's like to say you draw 6 extra cards and gain 6 life against some decks,
right,
that's
the life
2
gain.
whole extra turns.
Right, the life gain really puts it out of reach for any sort of mono red or zombies or any of the aggro decks.
You're a big basketball fan. It's like changing the amount of possessions at the end of the game.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, if you get 3 possessions, the other team gets 1, it's going to be tough for them to beat you, right?
Yeah. So you mentioned this guy, Augur Bolus. You could kill someone with this, hypothetically?
So I've never killed anybody with an Augur Bolus. I mean, I might have dealt from 1 to 0 if they took a lot, but it's pretty tough for a 1-3 to kill them. But, it's great card advantage. I mean, the deck has, as you just put up, very powerful instants and sorceries. I mean, Revelation and Supreme Verdict are the 2 most powerful cards in the deck, and Planar Cleansing costs more, but, whatever. So, I mean, great card, excellent blocker, and you get the card back most of the time.
Right, you get to reset it even sometimes with...
Yep.
Restoration Angel, get to block any Flinthoof Boar, just runs into this and falls apart.
Yeah, Restoration Angel is like the mid-game card for the deck. It's like you need something powerful to get you through turns like 4 and 5 sometimes to get you to that point where you can take over with Revelations. It attacks Planeswalkers. It might not always kill them, but at least keeps them in check. Or it stops like a few of the little guys, making them overcommit into Wrath. You net the value back by blinking either of the other 2 creatures you have back up. Sweet.
Snapcaster Mage. We've talked about this card for as long as it's been around.
Excellent card. Very exciting to see it in other formats too, like Legacy and whatnot.
Yeah.
The things you can Snapcaster, right? Like Thoughtseize and Swords to Plowshares and all that good stuff.
All right, let's take a look at the next slide. Okay, there we go. So you mentioned counter magic and some other instants and just control cards. Azorius Charm has been...
Azorius Charm is really good. This is going to be deceptive because it's only 2 mana and you cycle it a lot of the time, but it could quietly be the best card in the deck. It's not always the 5 or 6 mana powerful card that's the best card that really makes a deck, constructed worthy. Control decks have traditionally always had this problem where you need to have like a lot of lands because you have to always make your land drops, but then you get flooded, you know what I mean? So it's a split card. It's 2 mana cycle, which helps you hit your land drops, which is the most important thing for control. If you've already got your land drops, then you go the other way and put their creature back on top, which basically slows down the progress of the game while you're making your land drops, which then lets you win with Revelation. Huge card for control decks.
Jerry compared the card to Vapor Snag, actually.
I think it's different in his deck than in ours. Like, I could see it being like Vapor Snag because instead of them losing the life, it goes back on top of the library. But Jerry's playing Red Blue White, which is more of an aggro control. This is like a pure control. So it's not really the same type of effect in our deck that it probably is in the Blue Red White deck with a bunch of damage.
Think twice. Just
good.
You just want to keep drawing cards,
Actually, I forgot about that. That's another difference. I mean, everybody else played 3, I played 4. I played them in Blue-Black Control, which I played for almost 6 months across a couple Grand Prix in a whole season. And I played them in the Blue-White deck from Charleston. And Actually, I don't remember if I played them for sure in Charleston. I played them in the Blue-Black Control for 6 months, though. Anyways, whatever. Think Twice is just like Azorius Charm. It's an excellent card for control decks. I mean, it helps you make your land drops. It helps you gain an advantage. You leave up your mana, and people don't always have something to play. Flashback a Think Twice.
Yeah.
Draw a card.
So what's kind of interesting to me about a lot of these control decks is I think people have this idea of a control deck as this deck with a fistful of counters. I have 8, I have 10 counters. You guys have like 2 counter spells?
Well, in 2002, the control decks had fistful of counters. But as it is, they've made the counters a little worse over the years to let creatures have their shot in the spotlight. So now, you play a couple of counters to stop their big threats, to dissipate like a Planeswalker, a Thrag Tusk, or their late game. But you can't rely on counters to stop all the 2 and 3 and 4 mana cards anymore. So that's why we play a lot of solutions like these.
All right, and as the game goes on, Snapcaster Mage gets this back.
Yep.
Restoration Angel, your Snapcaster Mage gets this back.
Yep, so you have access to them over the course of the long game to stop their Revelations and Bonfires and Aurelia's Furies, and they're very powerful spells. And in the early game, you take care of their problems with these.
So Devour Flesh, you and I think of this as a Diabolic Edict.
Yep. You're old school if you know it's Diabolic Edict, because that's from Tempest. That's a long time ago.
Dramatic Rescue is a surprising card to me.
Yeah, I don't think the bounce spell would be good enough to include, if not for its synergy with the creatures. Dramatic Rescue is a nice card that you can always cast even if you don't have your black, and you gain some life and it offsets the beatdown decks. But obviously, bouncing a 2-drop on turn 2 is not really great. Like you lose card advantage and all that. But the fact that then with Dramatic Rescue, when you draw it in the mid game or the late game, you can just bounce your Augur, gain 2 life, replay your Augur. Usually you block something big that would have killed the Augur.
Right.
Replay it, get an additional card replacing the Dramatic Rescue. So then you net a bunch of life.
That sounds awesome.
Right, you net a bunch of life and some Sift. Or even if you bounce your Restoration Angel that already blinked an Augur, you Wrath or something, and then you've got your Restoration Angel again. Hopefully another Augur.
All right, let's take a look at the lands that are at work here. Chapels, fountains, godless shrines, watery graves, drowned catacombs. You got a couple of basics too. We already saw the Nephalia Drowned Yard at the beginning. Let's go to the next slide. 7 basic lands. Oh, sorry, we got the Glacial Fortress, 3 basic lands. And then let's quickly go through the sideboard and let you go. It sounds like you might have some celebrating to do with your friends.
Hopefully with Ephro, I can see right there.
Jace Memory Adapt, Angel of Serenity, Gloom Surgeon, a breakout card. Psychic Spiral is a...
Okay, so Psychic Spiral has actually become not even our tech. It's been on all the Moto Daily lists and everything. It's just for the Drowned Yard mirrors. Somebody mills it into your turn, and then you play Snapcaster, Flashback, and deck them. It's really sweet. And
then let's look at the last couple cards before we let you go. Lots of little duresses, dispels, negates. Witchbane Orb, which has been a big card this weekend, and of course, Rest in Peace.
Yeah, the Witchbane Orbs are excellent for the Drowned Yard mirrors, good against Jund. All this stuff is straightforward, disrupt the other control decks, keep them off of their answers and all of that.
All right, well, these are the cards that Ben Stark is going to have to work with tomorrow. In the top 8, he's going to be the top seed. He's going to be playing first. Throughout the top 8, looking for his 2nd Pro Tour victory in his illustrious career. Yeah. For Ben Stark, this is Brian David Marshall signing off from the Tournament Center.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tournament Center. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I am with Brian David Marshall, and we have a special guest. This is Joel Larson. He is in the top 8 of this Pro Tour, his first Pro Tour top 8. Congratulations, Joel.
Thank you.
Now,
that was awesome.
You've been playing on the Pro Tour for a while now. Can you talk to us a little bit about how long you've been playing at this level?
I've been playing on the Pro Tour since 2010. I had 1 Pro Tour then, but I wasn't as good as I'm now, obviously. But I missed 2011 Pro Tour Paris, but I top 16 the Grand Prix, the Magic weekend.
It was the Magic weekend,
yeah. Exactly. So then I have been on the Pro Tour since then. I top 8 a couple of Grand Prix and so.
Hard work.
Well,
Now, Joel, you're from Sweden. Talk to us a little bit about who you test with when it does come time to come to the Pro Tour.
Sure. So, I have a few friends who at home, who I play with for fun and so on. But when it comes to Pro Tours, we usually play with all the Swedes that is qualified.
I see.
Because there's not that many players that's qualified all the times. Like it's Vatsveld or Dennis Rashid who's platinum now. Good for him. And Kenny Oberg and so on. But there's a lot of PDQ players going in and out as well, and we'll have different time schedules every time. Somebody has work or can get in on the last day before, and it's a bit messy, but it works.
Now,
presumably.
Well, obviously.
Obviously.
so what did you guys decide was the best deck and the deck that you wanted to bring here this weekend?
Oh wow! I think the Swedes went up with 2 different decks. You know, I saw the deck blue, white, red, and I'm like, okay, I'm in love with this deck. After playing it, you
just loved the blue.
Yeah,
white,
yeah.
red
I'm like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna play this. And
now, is this the aggressive version of blue, white, red, or is this the more controlling version?
It's a bit of both, I'd say.
Okay.
It looks really weird on paper, but
does it have Geist of St. Traft in the main
the sideboard?
Deck? In the sideboard.
Yeah. When you have to be a bit more aggressive against, Esper and
yeah, that's kind of where the line gets drawn. When I see Geist of St. Traft, I know you're looking to beat down at some point.
Yeah,
and when not, it still can. You had Boros Reckoner?
Yes, 4.
Yeah, okay, so
4 Boros Charm as well.
And 4 Boros Charm as well. Now,
you have any way to give your Reckoner lifelink?
Yes,
So
5 ways.
So you have the infinite life combo in there as well.
Have that, yeah.
Did you do that at all during the tournament?
Yeah, I did it once, and I had I had the chance to do it 2 other times, but I just went for the head instead of kill it.
Okay, I want to know. You have to pick a number when you do that. What number did you pick for your life?
1 Googleplex.
1 Googleplex of number. Good.
Yeah.
Did you have to write that down on your?
Yeah, wrote Googleplex. And it's like, okay. Yeah,
I need time.
Quite a lot,
You're like, please don't be able to do Googleplex in 1.
I don't think so.
All right, so you've finally broken through, and you've made it to your first Pro Tour top 8.
Sure.
Can you describe for us how you're feeling? Like, we get a lot of people in the booth, and we're like, man, you just made your top 8, and they're like, yeah, I'm in the top 8. It's cool.
I'm thrilled. It's awesome. Yeah, I've been trying to do this for such a long time, and I love playing Magic. So this is like the biggest achievement you can do.
Yeah.
Obviously winning the Pro Tour as well. But
Well, that's going to happen tomorrow.
Let me ask a counter to that question. Now, with all that excitement, you know as a Magic player that you need to be level.
Yeah.
Right, you need to take your wins and your losses with the same kind of stoicism, right? And just go, oh well, that's how it goes. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Tilt, of course, though.
How do you take your enthusiasm and your excitement and your nervousness and bottle that back up into the place where you try to keep it when you're playing in round 11?
Well, if I start the tournament going pretty good, if I start 3-0 or 4-0. I just get enthusiastic, never nervous. I'm just, okay, I'm going to wreck them, just play. And I think the biggest thing is for me that I chose to lock out everything that, about the score and everything, what I need to do to get top 8 and so on. I just don't think about it and just, I'll play, and I'll play, and I'll play.
Now, do you think you're going to be able to do that tomorrow? It has, the feature matches tomorrow have sort of a next level of pressure. It's just you, everybody in the building. Do you think you're going to be able to lock that out? You seem like a pretty cool character to me.
Yeah, I think it will be all right. It's not the same thing as being in a Grand Prix top 8. Of course, it's a bit high.
At a Grand Prix, you don't get a night to play test the matchups. So what's your plan for tonight?
Well, obviously we're going to play a few matches, or more than a few, possibly. But, eat well, sleep well, be happy, maybe get a beer or something. I don't know. Just one.
You don't want to overdo it.
No.
Who are you going to charge with testing matchups for you? Because I know a lot of times people will, I'm going to go to bed.
All right.
And, you're going to say to these guys, play test for me overnight, figure out my sideboard strategies.
Sure, I'm not going to bed. I'm gonna play with them. Get confident in the matchup and everything. Knows when, I want to play as much as when something happens in the game. Like he plays, for example, Restoration Angel in this situation. I have this. I know exactly where I'm at in the game. Being on the controlling or the aggressive perspective or whatever. So I want to play some games for sure.
You want as many repetitions as possible before.
Not as possible, but until I'm satisfied.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Now, are there any matchups in particular that you feel are favorable or not favorable for you going in?
I think I met the French version of the Bank Control deck with Wolfram twice yesterday. That was my only losses.
Okay.
So
we'll put that down as a bad matchup.
That's a bad matchup. Yeah. It could, the games could have probably gone either way, but I think it's a bad matchup. And mirror is mirror.
Yes, mirror is mirror.
It's like 8 or 4 cards difference. It's not too much. But
And what are the matchups that do you think are particularly good for you? Like
all the aggressive matchups is pretty good.
you don't have a problem beating those.
I don't think so.
You just want to see Flint Hoof Boars every round?
Yeah. Yeah, that's my plan at least. But I think I'm playing Jerry tomorrow. I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't seen the.
Yeah, we don't quite know.
I think
All right,
so.
Joel, congratulations again. We're going to
Thank
let
you.
you go get that
Great job.
testing underway.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you tomorrow.
Thanks.
And we are going to be bringing Richard Hagen back into the booth here, and he is going to be filling us in with all types of lovely information. You look flustered. Sit down, sir.
For the second time today,
Richard Haggard at this point.
someone actually saw me run. Yeah, I really did run this time. So I have a piece of paper. It's the unofficial final standings. And the way it works is we can't announce these until they are formally announced by the tournament organizer, Scott Larrabee from Wizards of the Coast. But the fact that I'm sitting here and they can see out there that I'm sitting here means that we're moments away from the announcement of the Pro Tour Top 8 for Gatecrash 2013. Joe had some cool stuff to say?
Yeah, I really liked him. I was kind of getting him briefed up before we were talking to him. And he's like, he's like, I'll figure it out. It's fine. And we were talking to him, just kind of, I gave him a little nerve check, just to see like, hey man, are you feeling it already? And he's just like, no, I'm going to figure it out. Like, I don't think it's going to be an issue for him tomorrow, any of the other stuff, except for just the magic he needs to concentrate.
He seems like he's able to zero in on what matters.
This turn, this card, this play, this life total,
Absolutely.
nothing else.
Yeah. Which is really impressive to me because, like, for me, I would be a basket of nerves at this point. I wouldn't be able to sleep tonight. It would be all of that stuff until I got actually playing again.
We see Brad Nelson was like that. All the narratives that we sometimes talk about are like, so you're 6-0 and then you're 6-2 and then you get to 11-2. You must think you're in great shape, but then you lose twice and you're right on the edge. And he's like, yeah, so I played this guy, and it was interesting because he had like 3 detention sphere in his sideboard, which 2's the normal. And that's how he remembers his matches. Has no clue what round it is.
Yeah.
It's time for the announcement for the Pro Tour Top 8 at Gatecrash. So Scott Larrabee is announcing it, and we will hear it as you do.
It's going to come over, or do we need to voice over it?
We will voice over it as we go. So, as I say, this because we want to make sure that this is the official document of record as it's announced by Scott. So,
why didn't this come in a briefcase, handcuffed?
Yeah,
a group of accountants,
security guards. The top 8 of Pro Tour Gatecrash in Montreal. In first place with 38 points from the United States, Ben Stark. Pro Tour Paris winner 2011. In second place, 38 points from the United States, Owen Turtenwald.
Player of the Year 2011.
That's right, and his first Pro Tour Top 8 after 12 GP Top 8s. In third place, 37 points from the United States, Melissa DeTora. The roof is being raised here in Montreal, our first female player in the Top 8 of a Pro Tour. Fourth place, 37 points from Sweden, Joel Larsson. He makes it to his first Pro Tour Top 8 after multiple Grand Prix Top 8s in the last couple of years. Fifth place, 37 points from the United States, Jerry Thompson. And that is the roof being raised once again. Wow, is Jerry popular.
Over 200 lifetime pro points.
Sixth place, 37 points from the United States. Tom Martell back in the Sunday spotlight once again. Could be up against Ben Stark later tomorrow.
This is where it gets
Seventh
interesting.
place, 36 points from the United States. Eric Froehlich is into the top 8. He thought he was in. He was surrounded by well-wishers. He knew he'd got it done. Now, 8th or 9th, Mann or Gonzalez. In 8th place, 36 points from the United States. Stephen Mann makes it in. Robert Gonzalez is in 9th. And that is your Pro Tour Top 8 here at Gatecrash. Boys, what do you make of those?
This is one of the best top 8s. I mean, I haven't been doing this as long as you guys, but wow. Like, I'm looking at this, and did you hear all the crowd out there?
Mm-hmm. This is shades of Pro Tour Paris. Mm-hmm. We see Ben Stark, we see Tom Martell, and we see Eric Froehlich. Eric Froehlich was on the outside of that top 8.
As was Owen Turtenwald.
As was Owen Turtenwald, right, but yeah, just a hair off. Mm-hmm. And now we see 4 players from that old Channel Fireball roster now split into the Channel Fireball and the Star City roster. making it into the top 8. I also am kind of interested to see how the Joel Larson, Jerry Thompson mirror match.
The Joel and Jerry show?
The Joel and Jerry show.
Yeah, they have a few slight differences, but they have the same type of deck for sure.
So you're going to have tomorrow Larson against Thompson, Datura against Martel, Turtenwald against Froehlich, and Stark against Mann. They will be your 4 quarterfinals.
Wow.
Extraordinary. I tell you what, Marshall, you're going to have a little lie down because you've got some work to do tomorrow, anchoring the news desk. We thank you for being with us at the news desk, but right now it's time for BDM and I to get over to the wall for the end of day wrap.
Excellent.
When almost 400 players turn up to a Pro Tour, you'd like to think the top 8 might be quite good. BDM, they haven't disappointed this time.
It's just an amazing top 8, headlined by 4-time now Pro Tour top 8 competitor, Pro Tour Paris champion, Ben Stark. Oh my gosh. Just kind of really like was out in front for quite a while there, just right near the top tables, never in doubt really for him.
Yep, a complete limited master, and you saw his campaign from the very first pick of the very first pack yesterday morning.
Right.
And he has dominated his way. He got to 12-2 and then went 2 more rounds. Thanks, draw. So that's your number 1 seed. Who's number 2?
Number 2 is Owen Turtenwald. I wrote a column on Friday where I talked about the top 8 or 9 players in this room this weekend in terms of how many pro points they had and which of them did not have a Pro Tour top 8. And Owen Turtenwald was the second highest player in the room in terms of pro points, 180, in excess of 180 points. He's got a Pro Tour Player of the Year trophy, but he did not have a top 8. A glaring absence on his resume.
Yeah.
We've seen him really seen him grow up and take on the form of a man over the last 2 years.
Totally. Yep.
And working with the Star City team for this event, and just what a great showing by him, and someone who's I think got a reputation as a little bit of a sneering, cynical player. The unadulterated joy on his face, thought he was going to break his wrist with high fives when he won that last match he needed to sort of lock it up. It was actually a beautiful thing to see.
It really was. So congratulations to Owen Turtenwald, first Pro Tour top 8. Now, number 3, it's another first.
Speaking of firsts, holy crap.
But it's not just first for her, it's a first for hers. Because Melissa Datura is our first female player in a Pro Tour top 8. She was the overnight leader, 8-0. She came in, held a nerve, 2-1 the draft. You saw her draft this morning with Orzov, went 2-1. Then down the stretch, got a little bit dicey, some big matches, and ultimately what got her in was that fantastic match against Dave Shields, who got carried out on his shield, if you will. Just an amazing match that was.
It's funny, we've been watching all of these matches with these control decks, with Sphinx's Revelation, with Supreme Verdict, with card drawing, with Snapcaster Mage, etc. And these decks have tons of mana at the end of the game. I mean, just 14, 15, 20 lands, it's just absurd. And honestly, they have so much mana that they're like not tapping out for Sphinx's Revelation, right? Like more mana than they know what to do with.
Yep.
Except for Melissa Datura, who has Kessig Wolfrun in her deck to create these, lethal.
The mana sink of doom.
Yeah, 15 points of damage coming in from a Angel of Restoration Angel. I'm so plus. I'm so excited about this.
Or a Thrag Tusk, or
or anything.
And you talked about the broken wrist for Owen. For Melissa, the broken wrist comes from going these 18 that way. So Melissa is in as the 3rd seed. Who's number 4?
Joel Larsson from Sweden. We just had him into the desk for an interview. What a tremendous young man. What a composed, just someone just kind of exuding confidence and exuding. Just very impressed with him.
But underneath, super happy.
Oh no,
super happy.
He made no pretense of being anything other than thrilled and saying that this was something he's wanted to do as long as he's been playing Magic, something he's dreamt of.
Fantastic. Joe Larson, his first Pro Tour top 8. Yet more firsts. And yet we're going star names. So who's number 5?
Jerry Thompson. Jerry T, as he's known, throughout the Magic playing world. Jerry Thompson earns his first Pro Tour top 8. I alluded earlier to that list of Magic players. He was on top of that list with 191 pro points coming into this event, a staggering number of pro points to get earned almost entirely on the Grand Prix circuit.
2 Grand Prix wins, but now a first Pro Tour top 8 for Jay, and richly deserved, because we often see his decks near the top of the standings, and usually he's a round or 2 behind.
And again,
not this time.
Working with Star City traditionally for this event, actually working with the Channel Fireball guys.
So Owen and Jerry could just have saved themselves the bother and just stayed put. And
they shelled
both
in.
made top 8. Yeah. All right. So that's Jerry Thompson. Number 6 is
Tom Martell. When you think about Pro Tour Paris, you think about Grand Prix Columbus. You think about Grand Prix Columbus.
And a Grand Prix Indianapolis winner. And so on. A terrific player. Again, someone who straddles the Channel Fireball, Star City, divide, if you will.
Right. Recently moved over to the Star City team.
So he is your number 6 seed. Now, number 7, huge cheer went up when this got announced. Eric Froehlich, and one of the, I think Cover It Live is great, and social media is lovely, but tell everyone at home, BDM, what we saw on Cover It Live as Eric Froehlich is in the process of securing this top 8.
First of all, the entire social network of Magic was clamoring to see Eric Froehlich on camera for that final match.
Right.
Gaming celebrities and people at home and Eric's own family.
Okay.
And when he won, we saw a comment on Cover It Live from Eric's dad, who's incredibly supportive of Eric, just saying, that was just paraphrasing, just a tremendous moment.
Yep.
So glad I got to see it. Thank you.
Tears of joy.
Tears of joy. Thank you so much for letting me watch it.
Yeah. And sometimes we
really
forget,
moving moment.
while tens and hundreds of thousands of you are watching this live or on delay or on Twitch days from now, there are people who are intimately involved with these people you watch on the turn of a card. That Sphinx's revelation belongs to someone's son or daughter, and it really, really matters. It's just great. So well done, Eric Froehlich. And finally, total nail biter. It was a toss-up between Roberto Gonzalez of the United States and Stephen Mann. They had kind of traded blows in the standings all day long today, and it was just a case of tiny amounts of percentage points on opponent match win. Who do we see again tomorrow?
Stephen Mann from Florida in the United States is your 8th seed. Playing Jund. Very, very exciting for him. Roberto Gonzalez, Dave Shields, Emmanuel Suter, Felipe Tapia Becerra, John Stern, Conley Woods.
And Juan Carlos Adabio Diaz.
And Tomek Pedrakowski.
That rounded out your top 16.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. At the start of yesterday, we saw a gentleman from the Netherlands by the name of Don van Ravensvaai. And we looked at his pod and we said, good luck, my friend, you're going to need it. Well, tonight, we can look at Ben Stark and Owen Turtenwald and Melissa DeTora and Joel Larson and Jerry Thompson and Tom Martell and Eric Froehlich, and we can say, Stephen Mann, good luck, my friend.
Good luck.
Don van Ravensvaai won his draft pod yesterday morning. Can Stephen Mann take down 3 players tomorrow and be the champion of Pro Tour Gatecrash? Tomorrow, what have we got in store, BDM?
We're going to see Ben Stark playing Stephen Mann.
Right.
We're going to see Owen Turtenwald playing Eric Froehlich. A match that has been described, matchup that's been described as chippy. We're going to see Melissa DeTora playing Tom Martell. Not something that Tom sounded very excited about.
Sure.
And in the middle of that bracket, we're going to see Jerry Thompson playing against Joel Larson in a red, white, blue Boris Reckoner kind of control match. Almost mirror.
Sort of.
One side has Blasphemous Act, one side has Harvest Pyre. Interesting to see which comes out on top.
And here's the key. It's standard and it's best of 5. Tomorrow, make sure you're here with us for the conclusion of Pro Tour Gatecrash. It's an amazing top 8. It's going to be an amazing Sunday.
And we have a special guest with us tomorrow.
Who's that then?
So we're gonna have the news desk. We'll have Marshall there. We'll have Tim there. We'll have Rashad there.
Yep.
And then we'll be in the booth.
Oh, okay.
The 3 of us.
Seems good. The what now?
The 3 of us will be in the booth.
Who's the 3rd?
Are you forgetting LSV?
We'll see you tomorrow for the top 8 of Pro Tour Gatecrash 2013.